Hello, welcome to Communication for Happiness. Dr. Sushi with a new lecture, Active Listening. Active Listening? Yes. When it comes to listening, maximum people, they are lacking a lot. God has given us 2 years, 1 term. This shows that listening is much important than speaking. But people, they give importance to speaking. In this lecture, I am going to discuss the definition, traits of a good listener, and barriers to listening, active listening otherwise. See, when it comes to listening, before taking the topic, I would like to differentiate between 2 words, hearing and listening. Hearing, yes. When some sounds come to us naturally. When we are passive, when we don't give our ear to something to understand something, then we hear. When we intentionally try to understand the meaning of something, we are listening that. We are listening to that. When we are active, when we are intentionally giving our ear to something, we are listening to that. When it comes to the definition of listening, listening is receiving, interpreting and reacting to some message from a speaker. Okay? Listening is when we attentively listen. When we attentively listen to something, we try to interpret that thing and we react to that thing. See, next I'll discuss some traits of a good listener. Good listener? Yes. First, a good listener feels never biased from the opinions, from the color, from the culture, from the education of a speaker. See, he gives importance to his views, unbiased. Second thing, paraphrase. A good listener will always paraphrase each and everything. Paraphrase means he'll try to explain each and every point further so that he can get the maximum of the meaning. Maximum of the meaning. Third thing means he reflects on implications. Sometimes when a speaker speaks, means there are many meanings attached to that statement. So a good listener will try to understand even the implications from indirect meanings, indirect indications too, so that he can get the whole of the meaning. Okay? Next is inviting further contributions. Somebody is speaking and you say, "Sir, what happened next to that? Can we interpret it like this?" Really, sir? When you say all these things, means you are motivating the speaker. You are contributing to say something else. The speaker feels motivated. These are traits of a good listener. Next comes responding non-verbally. When you nod your head, when you give impressions that you are understanding each and everything, then the speaker feels motivated. You are a good listener. Next comes empathy. See, we can't understand people's point of view unless we put ourselves into their shoes. To be a good listener, one needs to keep himself into the shoes of the speaker. One will have to keep himself at the place of the speaker, then only he will be able to understand his point of view, the speaker's point of view. Trait of a good listener. Next, deal with the distractions. Sometimes there is a noise when you are listening to somebody. Sometimes a person sitting beside you tries to distract you. Sometimes you are lost somewhere and you see. If you can keep a check on all these things, then you are a good listener. Okay? So next to this, I'll talk about barriers to listening, barriers to active listening. First of all comes contact. Sometimes a speaker, without understanding the background of the audience, has some difficulties. Sometimes adds too much easy things. Sometimes, when one speaks, one gives importance to difficult vocabulary. That comes between active listening. audience can't listen that thing well. Content. That comes under content. Next, speaker. Sometimes, like, see, as we discussed earlier, the audience don't like speaker, his color, background, education, attitude. Again, that creates a kind of barrier to listening. Next thing, medium. Sometimes there are so many topics which can be cleared face to face. Sometimes we choose wrong mediums. See, when we speak, we can feel the feedback. When we speak, I'm not see face to face, we can take the feedback. Feedback is instant, immediate. So when we choose a wrong medium, that leads to barrier to communication. Okay. Next thing is distractions. Like some noise there, somebody is talking, somebody from the audience is asking questions continuously. Distraction to barriers to, it's a barrier to listening. Next thing comes mindset. Sometimes it happens that you feel that you know too much. Sometimes you feel defensive. Sometimes you are extrovert. Sometimes you are introvert. Sometimes you are defensive. These things, they stop you to understand the meaning of the words. They lead towards the barriers to listening, good listening, your mindsets. Whether you are pessimistic, optimistic, even these things, they come under mindset, language. Sometimes, see, when a speaker starts using such a language which is not understood completely or clearly by the audience, definitely then there will be a barrier to good listening. Next, in the next slide, few more points I have written over here. Listening speed. Now see, we can use, when it comes to speaking, 150, 140 odd words in a minute. But we can process, we can listen up to 500 to 600 words in a minute. So the remaining time a speaker uses in some other things. So this gap comes or works like a barrier to listen. Next thing, feedback. I'm saying something, but my audience means they are looking around. So I'll feel pessimistically, means I'll definitely think that they are not taking me seriously. So what I'll do, if I were a good speaker, I would try to make my speech up to the mark, but sometimes it may happen that I'll be diverted. So that would be a barrier to listening. Sometimes when I get positive, good feedback, I'll speak very confidently. Okay? Its vice versa is also true. Next, cultural barriers. Sometimes it happens that people, you don't like people, audience don't like people who are from different backgrounds. See, when it comes to languages, I know see culture and language, they are interrelated. Sometimes you don't like the accent because you see a person is from a different culture. His way of thinking, his way of life is different from you. So that could also lead to barrier to listening. Next, fake attention. Sometimes some listener, they try to pretend that they are understanding each and everything very nicely. They make such expressions, but when you ask, they can't tell you anything. So fake attention and listening is also a kind of barrier to listening. Next, lack of training. See, to be a good communicator, we need some kind of training in each and everything, particularly in listening. How to listen well. How to just give importance to views. It's a kind of training when you are listening. How to attend a speaker. See, people don't have this kind of training. That's why it also leads towards barrier to listening. Next, taking. Sometimes it happens. Somebody is speaking and the listener is he keeps on jotting down each and everything. He doesn't give importance to the speaker. He believes in writing each and everything. So your mind is occupied with those things. The listener's mind is occupied with those things. That leads to barrier to listening. And the last thing, too much emotions. When you are extremely happy, when you are extremely sad, when you are emotionally imbalanced, you don't listen people well. So this also comes like a barrier to listening. Okay, how these things are very much clear to you. And next time, whenever you listen to somebody, please keep in mind all these things, because by listening you can improve each and everything, your vocabulary, your accent, your knowledge. That would save your energy, that would give you respect, because if you listen well, you can talk well. Thank you very much.